Hello, my name is Noah Ravoy, and this is smv4k.com, where we have the best advice to help red-pilled, K-selected people get the life they want. We all know that nice guys finish last. On the other hand, the assertive man gets the life he wants. If you ever wished that you were more assertive or that you could channel your disagreeableness into a more productive direction, then this message is for you. Before we continue, I'm just going to make a quick special note for women. While this message is primarily directed at improving the behavior of men, if you want to find and marry an assertive man, you will need to know how to identify and attract one. This message can help you to do just that. The benefits of being assertive are many, and they include that we will reduce our stress. This is because we're going to deal with our challenges in life head on. Conflicts will get resolved, and outstanding issues are going to be addressed rather than fester. This kind of stress created by unresolved issues lowers our testosterone just as badly as being a soy boy. It's incredibly destructive to us as men. We'll gain self-confidence and self-esteem. Every time you stand up for yourself, every time you're assertive, you're going to feel the power over your life increase. We're also going to be able to understand and use our feelings more appropriately. For many men, it's difficult to reconcile our desire to be a cold, logical, and Randian version of the masculine man with our need to be emotional and have emotional experiences. Being assertive will help us to understand who we really are and how our feelings and expressing them and our emotions expressing them appropriately is an important part of being a man. We're going to earn the respect of others. Nobody respects that Mr. Nice Guy. Men don't want a weak, passive man in their hunting party or sports team or work crew. And women don't want to rely on such a man to look after them. It's even worse than that. While men might look at a weak man with pity, women despise a passive man. We're going to improve our communication with others. An assertive man is a clear communicator. He says what he means and he means what he says. There's no passive-aggressive bullshit coming out of his mouth. The assertive man creates mutually beneficial situations. Passive people, they can't really express themselves. This causes them to miss out on a lot of opportunities. Because they don't act decisively, either mentally or in their words or physically by actions, they're not able to take up opportunities. So they forget to ask out the pretty girl or make that negotiation that helps their company to get a bigger contract. And they end up in situations where they're unhappy and unproductive, where they're not fulfilling their potential. In short, these are situations where no one wins. They also improve their decision-making skills. Assertive people have to have a program that runs in their brain that efficiently gets them to where they want to be while avoiding unnecessary suffering. If you can't make good decisions, you can't be assertive. The assertive person has better relationships. By standing up for ourselves and winning the respect of the people that we want to be around, we're going to drive out of our space any negative and toxic people, and we're going to attract to us high-quality, wonderful friends. If we're single, that means we're going to attract the highest quality woman that we possibly can. The women in our life, if we're already married or if we're dating, are going to start treating us better and with more respect as we become more assertive. We're going to gain more job satisfaction. The assertive man is decisive not just in words, but in actions. He's a dynamic man of action and he gets things done. He negotiates better, he gets paid more, he gets the projects he wants, he sells more, he creates more win-win situations. He's the better workplace communicator. Conflicts are going to be solved quickly when an assertive man is around. And of course, this helps businesses to make money, so they seek out assertive employees. Further, and this perhaps is the most important point, if you are interested in living in a free society, you should be deeply interested in promoting assertiveness. To be free, we must be assertive. We must be able to advocate for our personal interests and avoid delegating excessive power over us to other people. So then what does it actually mean to be assertive? Well, everyone has preferences, needs, wants, desires, and goals. But the assertive man speaks and acts in such a way that he creates the life that he chooses. This is in contrast to the passive man, who's pushed about by the preferences, needs, wants, desires, and goals of others, kind of like a ship tossed about on the sea by winds and waves. He doesn't really have a rudder, a decision, a direction in life. Everyone chooses the life they get. Either we can be the captain of our ship or the passenger, but either way, it's a choice. When our interests are not aligned with those of other people, we have what's called a conflict. Conflicts are an inescapable part of life, and assertive people use them to their advantage. Those who are best at negotiating mutually beneficial outcomes from conflict will quickly climb their dominance hierarchies. Everyone will want to do business with them or be around them. To be assertive, you cannot, of course, be at the one extreme of a Mr. Nice Guy, soy boy pushover, but you also don't need to be a tyrannical, psychopathic jerk or an asshole. Both are extremes of dysfunction. Being somewhere in the middle is no better. To be assertive, it means you need to get off the dysfunctional spectrum of behavior. Here, it's important to mention disagreeableness. Psychologists have identified 5 main personality traits, with agreeableness being one of them. This means it's actually possible to measure how agreeable a person is. People who are generally agreeable are more likely to give in, bend, and accept the preferences of others rather than assert their own needs or advocate for their own interests. It's very difficult to be an assertive person if you are very high in agreeableness. Since personality is almost totally genetic, we are not going to massively change our level of disagreeableness. This does not mean that a disagreeable person is automatically assertive. The disagreeable person might just be a jerk or a senseless brute who reacts to everything he doesn't like by attacking it. No, assertiveness is more than just disagreeableness. Now here's the goal, the most important part of this entire message. Assertiveness is the ability to harness whatever disagreeableness we may have and direct it into productive actions that help us to create the life we want. That ability to harness disagreeableness can be learned through exercises and practice. We need to develop reasoning skills and communication skills. In the reasoning skills, we have to think clearly about what we want, to know ourselves, to have self-knowledge. If we don't know what we want, how can we advocate for ourselves? We need to have a very well-developed idea about the kind of life that we are creating and what it's going to take to get us there. We need to be able to answer some very important questions when faced with decisions and opportunities. How is X going to help me reach my goals? What are the long-term implications of a decision? Is this something I really need to spend my resources fighting about? Is there a better way to get what I want? Rather than going with the flow and bowing to external pressures, we need to develop decisiveness, starting in our own mind and flowing out from there. We must create assertive patterns of thinking. Now, of course, we need to start small and work our way up to bigger things over time. Communication skills are also important. To be assertive, you're going to need the communication skills necessary to clearly tell others what we want and then negotiate a mutually beneficial outcome. To, as you might say, sell people on our ideas and plans. To advocate for our interests and convince others that our way is the best. But what if you're a very agreeable person? Of course, it's going to be more of a challenge for you to be assertive if you're very agreeable. Imagine that you have a special type of emotional energy, and it's expended whenever you face conflicts. It'll slowly recharge over time. However, you do have to face the fact that you simply have a limited ability to face disagreements and conflicts. Very introverted people may also find that conflict and negotiating is exhausting. Both groups need to practice their assertive skills so as to minimize the energy they need to expend on conflicts. Fight only the fights that are necessary, and then get them over with quickly. On the other hand, you want to seek out people who are generally well aligned with you, and that will prevent unnecessary conflicts from forming. What does a very disagreeable person need to consider? Well, your natural instinct is going to be to fight about everything. You're basically a human bulldog. You want to right all the wrongs, lash out at everyone who threatens you, and overwhelm other people with your power of your personality. You might even feel the courage to correct everyone who posts something stupid on the internet. But that's really going to be a big waste of your time, and it's going to get in the way of you being productive and achieving your goals. You are capable of great things if you can focus your disagreeableness in the right direction and at the right people. You need to choose a path in life that rewards you for being a hard ass. Also, you need to learn not to be disagreeable with everyone all the time for no reason. That just makes you unlikable. Be really clear in your mind when and where and with who you should be tough and where you need to be tender. So then, how do we become more assertive? It's the responsibility of fathers to teach their sons assertiveness. Unfortunately, that's often not what happens. Passive or abusive fathers are incapable of teaching assertiveness. As an adult, it's now up to you to reprogram your own brain. Assertive people are a danger to corrupt people. Pliable, agreeable children are easy to manipulate and control. Tyrannical parents, dictatorial school systems, corrupt religions, and government-sponsored propaganda seek to break young boys of any assertiveness at an early age. Your past trauma may be inhibiting your natural abilities to be assertive. You will need to reprogram yourself to think more assertively. First, you need to get rid of anything that's making you weak. Stop the degeneracy. Stop drinking, stop drugs, random sex, video games, TV watching, and propaganda. And ditch your Walter Mitty fantasies. You need to face reality. End any non-reciprocal relationships in your life. Clean yourself of all social parasites. Distance yourself from people or organizations that take more than they give. Now, you're going to need energy to be assertive. Nowadays, so many people are exhausted all the time. They barely have energy to go to work and come home, let alone create a different personality. We need physical and mental energy to be assertive, and that's going to start by eating and sleeping optimally. Make sure that you go to bed on a schedule, that you eat on a schedule, and that you put some sense and some consideration into what you're eating. Then, as your energy builds, start to exercise intensely, preferably with heavy weights. Getting physically stronger produces mental and hormonal changes that will improve your ability and your urges to defend your interests. Get your hormones tested, especially testosterone and thyroid. If they're low, take supplements. If you experience physical fear when confronting other people, you will need to face that by engaging in mock combat. Go somewhere where you can get hit in the face and learn not to fear it. Next, you need to kill the little voices in your head that are tearing you down and telling you that your needs are unimportant. And I'm serious about this. You need to literally choke the life out of them. These voices might be echoes of past authority figures, or maybe there's something out of our deep subconscious, but they can have no home in the mind of the assertive man. Manage your feelings. Use them to motivate you to stand up for yourself and chase your ideal life. Get angry when it's appropriate. Recognize when you're frustrated, scared, uncomfortable, and disappointed. Another thing I would do is read the book Getting to Yes by Roger Fisher and William Ury. The communication and negotiation techniques in that book are exactly what you need to negotiate mutually beneficial outcomes in your life. Now, you're going to need to start small and work your way up. That's just common sense. Start with little things like creating a sleep schedule and cleaning your room, then eating healthy, perhaps 1 meal a day, and then 2. We have to lift light weights before we can lift heavy ones. We have to walk before we can run. But it's important to start taking some action right now. Practice negotiating on yourself. Start standing up to your negative inner thoughts. Each battle you win against yourself will make you stronger. Once your own house is in order, look for external opportunities to assert your interests. Advocate for career advancement and promotions. Practice assertively making a courtship proposal to a woman you like, or practice being assertive with your friends. Every assertive action that you make will make you more assertive. It's a virtuous cycle. Now here, I feel it's only fair that I warn you about something very important. Not everyone is going to like the new assertive you. As I previously mentioned, assertive men present a real, even physical danger to tyrants and social parasites. You cannot rule men who have not been first broken to the whip. You cannot rule men who advocate for their own interests and the interests of their group. This is why so much of today's societal structure is saturated with anti-male, anti-masculine, anti-white propaganda. You're gonna piss some people off, and it might just seem easier to fade back into obscurity and become passive again, rather than stand up to their anger and bluster. But don't do it. Once you've gained your assertiveness, never give it up. Hold on to it and make it grow. Keep fighting and join up with other assertive men. Another note for women, you too need to have a certain level of assertiveness. You need to know the kind of man you want and be willing to reject those that don't fit your ideals. Passive women get sucked into negative peer pressure that leads to feminism, thoughtish behavior, and anti-male bias. Conversely, you need to become comfortable around highly assertive men and learn how to attract and keep them in your life. But that's a topic for another time. In conclusion, you will never feel like a real man unless you can learn to be assertive. We are surrounded with pressures designed to break us and take from us our power. But you can resist these pressures and come out of it stronger by following the advice in this message. Listen to it a few times. Let the information sink in. Let it mold your mind. Then start acting. When it comes down to it, the assertive man is a man of action. Carpe diem, brothers.